You are listening to the Become a Guitarist Today podcast with Adam Roach.
Hey there, and welcome to episode number 149 with my guest today, Matt Wilcock from the band Shotgun Mistress, and they are from Melbourne, Australia. So today we talk about their new album, which has just been released on July 16th. It's a fantastic album, full with great riffs, great melodies. The whole band just amazing. Now, the opening track you are hearing is probably one of my favourite songs on the album. It's called No Friend of Mine, but you'll be able to hear a lot of other songs throughout today's podcast from the album. Make sure you check out the link in the show notes to purchase the album and find out more about the band Shotgun Mistress. And thank you to my sponsors, Arnaud Krakowka, Custom Guitar Picks, and Musician. Now, before we get to the interview, let's have a quick listen to the advert from Arnaud Krakowka about his drum tracks.
You don't need a drummer to make an amazing metal song. All you need is access to tracks produced in a great studio by a great engineer. My full-length drum tracks are crafted using the best sounding samples I've been developing for over a decade and have been used by thousands of professional musicians worldwide up to the highest level in the industry, including John 5 and Gus G. Stop wasting hours of your time trying to program drums and stop wasting tons of money to have your drummer record in a studio for mediocre results. With my drum tracks, you don't need to worry about any of that. Just drag and drop your tracks, press record, and you're done. All of that with a killer, authentic sound. So go to my website, arnaudkrakowka.com, to start rocking.
So again, they are fantastic drum tracks. I've got 11 of them at the moment in the works for an album, so check out his website as well. So let's go over the interview now with Matt Wilcock.
Cool.
How's it going?
Yeah, good. It's I'm cold.
Yeah.
And I'm not miserable, but I'm cold. I'm a bit miserable because we should have been playing the show tonight, and
that's tonight.
The state's in lockdown and all the rest.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's the vibe.
Well, the good news is you got the album out.
Yeah, it is good news. Yeah, it's taken a while, but it's finally happened, and it's things seem to be going well.
Yeah.
First day of release, but it's all good.
It was just released today, wasn't it?
Yeah. It's taken a while. We've had a whole slew of singles and also just delays with COVID and all that sort of shit as well. But so it's taken a little bit longer than anticipated. But the wait was worth it. We're finally there, which is good. So
yeah, no, it's excellent. So how's it all been going with that after a day of release?
Yeah, well, I guess it's good. There's been quite a bit of sort of excitement, like online. Like I say, it's a real shame that we couldn't play tonight.
Yeah.
So it's been good and bad. It's been great that it's happening and it's out and it's done well. It got to number 2 on the rock chart, and I thought I think it got to like number 12, but it might have been more on like the sort of just standard across the board chart.
Yep.
So it's done well. It's really cool. I don't know whether it will still be there tomorrow. I don't know. I don't know if we're going to have the 48 consecutive weeks in the top 10, but nonetheless, we got there to start with, and that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So it's it's good that it's out, and it seems to be still doing pretty well, and people are into it, which is really cool. But at the same time, it's a bit bittersweet because we can't play, and everything's sort of fallen apart a little bit, and that sort of side of things. So good and bad in that department.
I must say it's a great album. Like, I listened to the whole thing last week. It's fantastic.
Oh, cool.
Yeah,
cool.
Just very riff orientated, I guess. A lot of different riffs in there.
Yeah, well, I guess that's yeah, I guess that's just my background. Don't get me wrong, it's about the whole band. And it's all the choruses and the sing-alongs and all the rest of it that make it, and the energy of the band and that. But coming from I come from a heavy metal background where it's all about the riff. The riff's probably the number one. I think there's as far as an album goes, it's a rock album with a bit of commercialness to it, maybe. Yeah, a little bit of that sort of heavy metal vibe as well, like the riff, that's sort of so it's a blend of all sorts of things. So, yeah.
But it's a good combination, though, like you're saying, with that heavy metal background, having those riffs there. I think that works well in with the vocals and what he does with the melodies as well. Yeah,
it's good. It's funny because when I started writing, I've known all these guys for a long time now. And, I sort of lost touch with some of them over the years. But when I first, sort of had the idea, I thought, it'd be quite nice to play some sort of Guns N' Roses or AC/DC-ish or just some rock music, really.
Yep.
I kind of, I thought of Glenn because he's a great singer, a great sort of songwriter. At first, I was a little bit hesitant because I thought, maybe, I'm probably a bit too much to the heavy metal realm, and he's a little bit too much, away from that.
Yep.
But he actually sort of touched base with me and said, do you want to, you've mentioned that you're doing some rock stuff. Do you want to work on stuff together? And I was like, cool. As I said to him, I did think of you, but I kind of thought maybe it might not be quite up your alley. But as it turns out, I think he's a bit more sort of a bit more of a rocker than I thought he was at first. But that combination, it kind of works really well, because maybe if some of the riffs and some of the ideas that particularly me and Ben have, they might be, you can never be too metal, but they might be a little bit too sort of, a little bit too much leading down towards the dark side, for lack of a better word. But combining with his sort of, Glenn's melodic sensibilities, maybe, is it all sort of evens each other out. And I think it's a nice blend of sort of what we're all into, and it works, which is good.
It does.
I guess over the past year or so, I've sent a few people some songs, just to get their opinion and to hear what they say. And, it's funny, what people have come back sort of suggesting that we sound like, I've heard a bit of Alice in Chains.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like, oh, really? Wow. Because, I like Alice in Chains, but it couldn't have been further from my mind when we were writing the songs and coming up with parts.
Yeah.
It's just funny that people, some people have heard the material and maybe interpreted it that way.
Yep.
As far as rock music goes, for me, everything comes back to Slash and Guns N' Roses. Anything that he's done is what, is probably where my main influence comes from.
Yep.
I can try not to copy anyone too much, but yeah, that's sort of my sort of vibe, rock music wise. It's probably a good thing that Glenn doesn't sound like Axl Rose, otherwise it'd be well, I don't know. I probably really like it, but jokes aside, I think it's probably a good thing that he doesn't sound like, for example, too much like Axl Rose or bloody Scott Weiland or Miles Kennedy.
Yep.
I mean, he loves all those singers, but he's got his own sound, which is really cool.
He does, for sure. Yeah, no, it works really well. Yeah, because I started going through the album, and I like to write down little notes beside each one. So number 1, Born and Raised, great riff. Next one, Devil in Disguise, great riff. The whole album is just full of great riffs.
Cool. I did a Zoom call with someone yesterday, actually, and they had a similar sort of thing where they asked me, so we'll go through each song and you can just give me a quick sentence about each one. And I said, Born and Raised. I'm like, heavy rock. Like, oh, cool. And then went to Devil, and I'm like, heavy rock as well. Yeah. And I said, we better stop this because I'm just going to say heavy rock for every single song. So, yeah, they've all got the same sort of formula. They're all a bit different, but yeah, it's definitely, that's the vibe,
Yeah. Probably the one that stood out for me was No Friend of Mine. I just really love that song.
Okay.
Just the riffs, the vocal
Cool.
melodies, the breakdown, your like bluesy solo. It's just really good combination of everything in that song.
Cool. Yeah. A lot of people like that one, and that's one of the oldest ones that we wrote, and we also released that ourselves. Like just as soon as we sort of started, we thought we'd better get a song done, so we can maybe shop around and at least we've got something to show people about getting gigs and all the rest of it. But we just went to the studio to do that song just to see how we sort of operate as a band and iron out any creases before we actually go in and attempt to record an album. So we just booked a couple of days and we went in and did that song because we, out of the 4 or 5 songs we had at the time, that was sort of the clear winner. That was the one that was the most viable. So we did that back in 2018, maybe late 2018, I think it was.
Oh, okay.
And we went out. Like I just initially thought it was going to be like just a demo, have it on YouTube or whatever, and send it off to people. We wound up releasing it as such, and it's well received. And now that the album's out, now that a few people have heard it in the last couple of weeks, there's been advanced copies floating around and that. It certainly seems to be a favourite, which is cool. Yeah, it's a good thing.
So you said that one was 2018. So that's pretty much when it all started with the album.
Yeah, pretty much. I guess I sort of lose track of things a little bit now, but I think at some point in 2018 is when we sort of officially got together and started writing and making a bit of noise. But it was a very quick process once we all sort of got in that room and actually started sort of playing together and realised that we kind of gel and it works and it's there's no clashes. It's going to be cool. Yeah. From there, it was a matter of we were sort of writing coming up with a song a week. We'd write, either me or Ben would write some riffs and then we'd go to rehearsal and pretty much get a song structure down. From there, Glenn he might do a recording of it or make some notes or whatever, and then by the following week, by the next rehearsal or whatever, he'd generally have vocals and pretty much like a fairly solid melody down for the whole song. Yep. So we were on a real sort of run with writing songs for quite some time. And even since we've done that first album, because we recorded it, it was probably, the album was finished probably a year ago, but like I say, record sort of label things, COVID and life sort of was probably delayed it about a year. But since then, we've still been writing fairly frequently. We've got a bunch of songs. So I think touch wood, the aim is to sort of have the next album's recording sort of underway before the end of the year. Okay. So we're not far off, which is good. It's exciting at the moment, that's for sure. Down, bring me down.
So if you had to play tonight, would have the set consisted of the 14 songs? Or 13 songs, sorry.
No, because it wasn't an album launch as such. No, it was just a gig with some other bands that we had. Okay. Yeah. But I guess we've been doing half hour, 45-minute sets lately. So it's up until the release, we've pretty much been playing the ones that the funnest ones to play, because like I say, it's been a few years I've had these songs written and or recorded. We've definitely got our favourites, the ones that are most exciting to play at rehearsal and also gigs. And but there's a few. I think there's 3 new songs. No, sorry, there's two new songs that we do as well. Okay. So it's and that's just, we just do them because they're fun. Like some of the newer material we've got is kind of it's funny. I think now that we've played for a while and now that we've done an album and we have got a really good understanding of how we operate and we sort of synced in together really well. I think it's like anything, the newer stuff that we're doing now, it's it's probably a bit more closer to how we maybe envisioned it being.
Yep.
So the songs are great. They're really good fun and they're really enjoyable. So we'd probably play a few more, except it's, we better just stick to the first album things that we just released today.
Yeah, I mean, the other song that stood out for me as well was Pretty Little Thing. I really love the solo in that as well. That was
Cool, yep.
Cool solo. So was that one of the live songs
Nice.
you do now?
Yeah, that's one of the. That's a definite in the set. I think we've played that all the time when we've played live because it's quite an exciting one, which is good. That's in there.
Yeah, that's good. And the other one I had here was "Save Me from Myself." Another great riff.
Cool. That's actually our opening track.
Okay.
I'm sure the other guys won't mind me saying give anything away to anyone, but I think we've always opened with that just because it's a good warm-up song. It's quite easy, really, and it's quite a cool riff, Everything about it's really cool, and it's got a bit of excitement to it. So it's a good one to sort of warm ourselves up to and smash it out quite confidently so people at least know, oh, bloody hell, this is what they do. This is what they're about.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's good.
May She Never Walk Alone, which actually features one of my friends on vocals, Penny.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, on the background vocals. So I played with Penny a few times over the years.
Yep, she's a great singer. I haven't met her, and I wasn't at the studio when she did that, but I've seen she plays. Been led to believe she's in a Fleetwood Mac cover band.
That's right. Yeah,
like a tribute band.
Yep.
Yeah, cool. I love Stevie Nicks. She's like one of my favorite singers. So that's really cool. Yeah. But Penny did. She did a whole bunch of stuff on that song. I think that song sort of obviously it's quite a personal thing. Like Glenn, it's Glenn and Dave's song primarily. Glenn wrote it. That's the one that he sort of primarily wrote. It's personal to Dave because it's in relation to a family member.
Yep.
That song, because it started as like just an acoustic song, so to speak, and it just gradually built from there. It's got the heavy choruses and the sort of the big sort of kind of, I like to think November Rainy sort of guitar solo happening in it.
Yep.
But so that song built up a lot throughout the recording process. So we added in various keyboard parts and layered extra things and lots of vocals and all that sort of business. And so Penny did a whole bunch of stuff. It's great. It's all great. It was all performed like brilliantly. But as the song took shape, there was like bits that were like, oh, that bit stays. Definitely keep that bit. Just to make the song like quite structured. It's quite a departure for me because I don't usually play that kind of music. So we've got a rule in this band. Well, I've imposed a rule in this band. It's a bit of a draconian thing, but. We're going to do one ballad per album. That's the limit because it's a rock band. But at the same time, like if Glenn writes a ballad, then by all means it's going on the album. But I've got a problem with too many ballads per album. So my thoughts are if we can write one dynamite ballad per album, then brilliant. We can keep going like that.
It's a what we created. Heaven knows you made it, smiling down at me all along. When I die, I'll find you. I stand by your side and guide you. If only for a moment is all. May she never walk alone.
Now, just quickly over to the tour bus. How's that all going?
I've got to be honest, that's Glenn and Dave's department. They've got themselves this bus. They've got all these grand plans for it. I don't exactly know what they're going to do or how they're going to do it, but they seem very excited about it. I think the general plan is that they're going to... It's somewhat of a business venture. So, for example, you've got let's say a couple of Melbourne bands that are going to go and play in Sydney. Theoretically, the plan is that when we're not using it, it can be hired out. Obviously, there needs to be a licensed heavy vehicle driver and this, that, the other, and blah, blah, blah. I'm sure they've got their finger on the pulse of all that sort of stuff because I know nothing about it. But it is quite exciting. I've seen the sketches on the napkin about how it's going to look and what they're going to do and take things out and put things in.
Yeah.
And it is all very exciting. Yeah, it's a little bit beyond me. I'm not quite sort of savvy enough to figure out how they're going to make it work.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's cool. It looks cool.
Yeah.
And I'm sure it'll be a lot of fun. And as long as they paint it so it looks cool from the outside, then I'll be happy.
That was my next question. How are they going to paint it?
Yeah, I think they've got all sorts of weird and wonderful plans for it. Again, I don't entirely know what they all are,
Yeah.
but yeah, there's going to be something cool is going to happen on the outside of it for sure. I don't think it's going to be the truck sort of girl with the devil's tail and horns and all that business,
Oh, yeah.
but I'm sure it'll be something kind of cool anyway.
Yeah. So you guys got a few shows lined up, hopefully?
Yeah, hopefully. I mean, we're penciled in to do the nationwide, Australia-wide sort of support for Electric Mary,
Yep.
which is it's starting in August, quote unquote, and it's several weekends leading up into and around sort of September, maybe October as well. They're all penciled in. I think there's Perth and Adelaide are first. And then the week after that is Sydney and surrounding areas. And then there's Brisbane and I think Tasmania and Melbourne, obviously. The only problem is that this COVID has pretty much messed everything up,
Yeah.
It was looking pretty positive for Perth and Adelaide up until yesterday when Perth closed the border, except for, the 14-day quarantine period. And I'm not sure what the deal with Adelaide is, but to be honest, I don't really see things improving markedly in the next sort of 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a bit of a shame. So, they'll just get postponed, so it's not like it's not going to happen. Fingers crossed, at least some of them happen in the coming sort of month or two. Worst case scenario, they're just going to get delayed. We've got a few sort of just local, smaller things penciled in. We've got... Again, they're all COVID pending.
Yeah.
And I think in October, I'm not entirely sure, but I've got a feeling that a bunch of bands from the sort of Golden Robot / Crusader sort of team, I think they might be planning a bunch of shows together,
cool.
in various cities throughout the country. It's all still up in the air. Nothing's confirmed yet. It's just such a difficult time to, sort of say, yes, we're doing this or we're doing that, because we're doing it now until next week when something goes wrong and then we're not doing anything.
Yeah, that's right.
So, yeah, a lot of gigs, a lot of things in the pipeline, and I guess, a few days prior to them happening, they'll be confirmed or they'll be postponed.
She's got me under pressure. I cannot breathe. She keeps a good impression. She keeps the peace. I lay victim to this glorious machine.
Cool. Well, thank you very much for the opportunity. I hope someone finds a little bit of enjoyment out of all this.
Yeah, hopefully I'll definitely see you at a gig once I come back out.
Excellent. Thank you very much for your
worries.
time, and hopefully we'll speak again in
Yeah, for
person
sure.
next time.
Yeah, no worries.
Cool.
All right, thanks, Matt.
All right.
So, bye.
Cheers. Take it easy.
See ya.